I'm not going to play this game. I can't argue my way out of this or negotiate my safety. So I made 2 phone calls. First, I called a friend willing to lend me their car. Then I called the police. The quietest escapes are always the loudest inside. The kids and I were easing out the front door before sunrise, moving as quietly as we could. The car Josh drove was under my name, and out of fear of future fines, I knew I needed to take it with me. If I didn't get it out before he woke, I'd lose the car and maybe the kids too. We almost made it. Josh stepped out before we could close the boot door. As soon as he saw us, he said, "What are you doing?" My stomach dropped. The kids froze. "I'm leaving," I said, soft but steady. "We need stability and you need help." His face changed instantly. Confusion, then anger. He stepped between the kids and me. "Zeb, Snow, come here. You're staying with me," he said. And just like that, they moved toward him because children obey the loudest voice, even when their hearts are breaking. They stumbled toward him, crying, but their tears only frustrated him. He wasn't softened by it. He was irritated that they wanted me more. I tried to reason, tried to stay calm, tried to remind him the kids needed stability, and he just refused. He refused to let me take the car. He refused to let the children come to me, and something inside me went cold. I'm not going to play this game. I can't argue my way out of this or negotiate my safety. So I made 2 phone calls. First, I called a friend willing to lend me their car. Then I called the police. They arrived quickly. Lights softened, voices calm. But even with the car registered in my name, even after explaining my concerns about future fines, which yes, did happen later by the way, they told me I could not take the car. It was infuriating, it was so unfair, but I accepted it. It was reality. My friends pulled up moments later and offered their car without hesitation. I knelt down to my children and whispered, "Don't worry, I'll come back for you, okay? Just stay calm." As I walked toward the borrowed car, Josh suddenly snapped. "Fine, take them then." Everything shifted. Within seconds, I had the kids in their seats, luggage packed, seatbelts clicked. My heart pounded as we drove away from the house, away from the chaos, toward the safety of my family in another city. But the relief didn't last long. Once we were back with my family, I tried to breathe, but Josh ramped up the pressure. There were threats towards me, and something more subtle and far more confusing towards the kids. He began asking them over the phone, "Is Mummy doing the right thing? Do you want us to be together now?" It was emotional pressure disguised as concern. Something too big for the kids. There's a name for this kind of manipulation. Emotional triangulation with loyalty binds. I know it's a mouthful, but it places children in the middle, forcing them to soothe the parent who is causing the chaos. I watched as my children were uncomfortable during their phone call with their father, and the moment I watched their tiny faces crumble in tears under the weight of those questions, I knew it. I knew I needed that parenting order. I knew I needed that protection order. Before I left, my pastor had encouraged me to pursue the orders. When he first mentioned it, it was a scary thought. But he was concerned for our family and what Josh would do when we left him again. So I was afraid of upsetting Josh, and so I waited. I told myself it was too harsh, too unloving, and too final. But Josh's reaction proved exactly why those orders were necessary. My lawyer filed them both, and within days the judge granted them. That's when everything exploded. When Josh realised he no longer had direct access to me, he didn't accept it quietly. He began contacting everyone I had ever known. Siblings, church friends, old acquaintances I had barely spoke to in years. When that didn't work, he went public. He posted lies online, stories twisted, just enough to make me look unstable, dramatic and unreasonable. And when that didn't get a reaction from me, he escalated again. He posted photos of himself with another woman. I had left in October. By late November, he was publicly in a new relationship. But here's the interesting part. I didn't see any of it. I hadn't checked his social media in years. It was too damaging, too anxiety-inducing. And I had surrendered his secret world to God a long time ago. I genuinely believed whatever was hidden would one day be revealed, as Luke 12:2 says. I didn't learn about the new relationship until mid-January when a friend showed me the posts. And when I saw them, it crushed me. If you want to know what happened next, you'll find that story in episode 1. But today, this is the lesson I want to leave with you. If I could sit beside the woman I was back then, exhausted, confused, terrified of making the wrong move, I would whisper this: you don't have to play the games you didn't create, because that's what that season truly was. Not just chaos, not just conflict, not just heartbreak. It was a game, a dysfunctional system with predictable moves. Block the car, withhold the kids, send threats, stir guilt, weaponize questions, perform distress, pull others into the narrative. Just test which lever will still work. And in each move had the same goal: keep you participating in the cycle. I didn't play when he posted lies online. I didn't play when he smeared my character. I didn't play when he tried to provoke me with phone threats. But when I saw that woman in the photo, that was the one move that slipped past my guard, because I still believed the family could heal, because my heart wasn't wired for rivalry, only restoration. And here's the truth: your compassion is not the problem. Their manipulation is. Compassion without boundaries becomes captivity. And this is where the law comes in. I used to think protection orders and parenting orders were signs of failure. Legal protection is not escalation. It is exit. It is stewardship. It is peacekeeping when peacemaking has failed. Scripture puts it plainly: if it is possible, as far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone. Sometimes to live in peace, you must involve people who enforce peace. Sometimes the shepherd carries a staff, not just a song. Here's what I want you to take away: you are not obliged to play someone else's dysfunctional game. The moment you stop reacting the way they expect, the game stops working. Not responding is still a response, and often the wisest one. Silence is not weakness, it's strategy. Legal boundaries are not unloving, they're necessary tools for safety and sanity. The law is there for the vulnerable, not the violent. The enemy's goal is to keep you entangled. God's goal is to lead you out. God is not the author of confusion. And here is the line that ties the whole lesson together: peace doesn't come from winning the game. It comes from no longer playing it. I'm Gigi, and if you're afraid that choosing peace makes you the villain, it doesn't. It makes you free. Walk with me next episode as we keep sifting through the ashes and watch where God brings life back.